let's do one better here. First, we'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pick anyone? Mr. Jones. Go. You want to lead us in the pledge?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I think everybody knows there was a tragedy that happened this past weekend. So I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember the two young ladies who passed away on Monday morning. Brianna Ann Larson was from North Grovenerdale. She went to Mary Fisher and Thompson Middle School, and she was at Ellis now. So we'll just take a moment. Thank you. Citizens' comments. Okay. Committee updates. Donna, communication.
So at the communications meeting that we held, we discussed, using the the school message system, and also talked about getting, how to educate, about school budget and other activities and using what we have. So, such as events, workshops, and other things. So we're going to be utilizing that, and we'll be working with the superintendent on getting that all together and sent out. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Donna? Finance subcommittee.
Basically, we reviewed the 2020 fiscal 2021 budget, finalized our cuts to give to Bob so we can put it into Munis, and we can get started on our new year. And just lightly touched upon an unaudited number for the fiscal year ended June 2019. We're in the black, not by a whole lot, but we're in the black. So unfortunately, we can't take advantage really of that 1%. No, but anyway, so I would recommend that we add an action item E, discussion item, action item E to action items to vote to approve the budget as presented with its current cuts as presented by by the superintendent to the Board of Education.
All right, so that's a motion.
Recommended, as recommended.
Okay, so you're making the motion to add an action item.
Yes, I am.
You have a second to add.
Second.
Linda's got it. All in favor of adding the action item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that would be what it is. Anybody have questions? High school Turla alumni update. Thomas?
So we have a very, very busy weekend coming up, not this weekend, it's the following weekend, the 25th, 26th, 27th. Friday, that 25th, we have Career Day, where alumni come back and they they put our students through the interview process, as well as they show the career paths that they've chosen, and put some relevance to education and what happens after education, how you go out into the workforce. Saturday, we have the men's and women's soccer game, alumni soccer game, as well as basketball, correct? Where Deb Spinelli and yours truly, Tom Angelo, will be the aficionados at the basketball game. Come see us run around like chickens out there and blowing our whistles. Right, Deb? Saturday night is the alumni concert. That's always a good time. Cole will be there, along with all the other choir members and musicians, and some alumni are coming back as well to take part in that. And Sunday, we have the official CalPlop. Some tickets still available, Deb?
I have some.
And Melinda, how many tickets?
I only have a couple.
I have some.
So the whole thing is there's 100 squares They release the cow, not release the hounds. Cow goes out, does its thing, could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, could be a couple hours, and depending on where the cow decides to do his or her thing, we end up, if it's on multiple squares, Deb has to technically weigh the droppings, right Deb?
Yes, I do.
And that's regulated by the
Went to
state.
class for that.
Yep, so we're hoping that the cow is in a solid state that day. The winner ends up getting $1,000 and the alumni gets $1,000. It's basically a 50-50 split. So if you haven't picked up your tickets, please do so. And come on up at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's quite the event.
And then to dovetail on that,
Yes.
the exciting news is that Dave Ward from WINY is going to broadcast live for 2 hours. Thanks for everyone who is contributing to sponsor that, because we're going to have 2 hours of PR, which is going to be great for us.
So, any questions regarding the Alumni Association? Any seniors in the crowd tonight? Okay, when you are a senior, we'll make sure we get an application for you.
All right, anybody have questions for Bill? Comments? Okay, let's move on to our educational update, student spotlight. Cole, you have a report for us?
As Cole is distributing his liaison report, we're holding off. We only just found out on a recent nominee and award winner for our student spotlight. It's a secret to come. So we will be sharing with you this month's, next month.
Okay, so starting off tomorrow, we have our TSAT and SQT, which is for 11th graders. The 22nd, we have staff leadership. The 25th, as Tom was saying, we have our alumni weekend, so we're also having Weekend Warriors for delivery that day, career day, and then homecoming. 26th is the alumni games and the alumni concert. The 29th, we're having the Celebration of Life hospice event, 5:30 in Danielson, and the Modern Music Ensemble will be performing at that. Halloween, we're having our costume parade. November 1st, we're having first quarter report cards go home. The 6th, we're having a student leadership, and it's going to be an early release day. The 10th is the turkey trot where the national anthem singer will be performing. And then the 16th will be CMA auditions at midnight service. So our first student voice form is a student wrote in that more climate control is needed in the building. Students were reminded that temperatures were raised during the past winter, but also reminded that more bodies in the room, more air circulates, which makes it feel colder. A student wrote in that there's a need for more efforts towards promotion of the school through social media. A district Facebook page was mentioned to the student council members, but the idea of an Instagram page was brought up. An Instagram page has previously been run by Teenagers News Club, but has since been shut down, but it's always be reopened. And I will say, like a lot of places in teenagers do have their own social media, like NHS has one, music has one, art has one, athletics has one, but it would be nice to combine everything is what kind of they're saying. So we have multiple student voice forms written in asking for more vegan and vegetarian options in the cafeteria. A student volunteered during last student council meeting to write an email to Mr. Rand asking about vegan and vegetarian options. Olivia Murphy drafted and sent an email to Mr. Rand. Mr. Rand and Ms. Murphy met with Olivia, Volkadair, and Mrs. Ouellette on 10/9, and vegetarian and vegan options were discussed. Cole and Olivia are planning to follow up with the student body. At the end of the year last year, a student wrote in and was concerned with the lack of recycling in the building. Mr. Poulin approached Mr. Joyce and Mrs. Ouellette with an opportunity to invite a couple of students to the CT Green Life School Recycling Workshop being held on 10/23 at Central Connecticut State University. So myself, Channing Boss, and Mr. Joyce will be attending this workshop that aims at helping schools understand the magnitude of how recycling and how they can improve.
And that's the one I wanted to put some feedback in. In my former district, I actually was a mentor for a student who actually started a recycling program district-wide, so we should talk. And we have our recycling folks that we meet with, Mr. Birch and I, at least once a year, and maybe they could be a resource for us.
Isn't, wasn't that what Al Landry came up and?
Exactly.
Yeah, he came up and did a whole recycling presentation as well, and I'm not sure if he's part of the discussions.
Is he on that board?
Yes.
He is? Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll make sure to reach out to them. We'll pick that up. So furthermore, we had at the end of the school year last year, student wrote in asking if there was a way to put announcements on the school website. The student council at the time decided to take it up to start the 2019-2020 school year. Mr. Joyce has spoken with Mr. O'Brien about the possibilities of videotaping the announcements. The student council representative said that KHS has just begun doing video announcements once a week. Mr. Joyce suggested that this may be a good idea for us to either wrap up the week or start the week. Robert Hill is looking into an official social media platform for announcements on Instagram. Continuing on, we have a student voice form who was written in asking for students to have more opportunities to take the classes they originally chose. Ashley Moore met with Ms. Caney to discuss the access to different types of electives. Mrs. Caney explained that for students taking honors, advanced or AP classes, scheduling options are very limited because most of these classes happen only once a day compared to the other college prep classes, which can have up to 5 class offerings a day. These college prep class schedules have more flexibility and tend to allow for greater choice in electives. Finding elective for students who take many honors classes is more difficult. Therefore, course offerings can allow students to take you can take other courses in the virtual high school. Ms. Kinney also said that seniors do indeed get first choice when it comes to electives because they need the art and tech credits to graduate and other classes to ensure enough credits for graduation. For freshmen, choices are limited because they need 4 core classes: English, Science, Math, Social Studies, along with PE and Health. Mrs. Kenny further explained that the core classes take precedence over electives when school counselors create student schedules. Counselors schedule core classes first, then fill in electives where they can. The scheduling of electives is also limited by the fact that there are a lot of singleton electives or electives that are only offered once a day. For example, if a student signs up for AP Government, singleton core class, and creative writing, singleton elective, is offered during the same period, that student would not be able to take both courses.
Yeah, and I hope the students are taking advantage of the virtual high school option, because that can open up the door for AP classes that were not offered.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of really great things about it.
That's good.
And so finally, we have a student wrote in concerned that our school website is out of date and missing several key things. Mrs. Pratt commented that the technology department is comprised of only 3 people who have to support the entire district. With many new innovations in recent years, such as Chromebook and new student information system rollouts, the tech department has its hands full. Administration is aware of some out-of-date materials and has been working with the technology department to replace old documents on the website.
Yeah, and I did ask the principals probably a month ago to go through their website and look for updated information that is there and work with the tech department to get those removed.
Anybody have any questions for Cole? Comments?
One thing I just hope, I hope parents realize, and the students, that the AP courses, and I'll just give you an example. One of my twins is graduating a semester early, and that is gonna save us as a family almost $25,000 because he's graduating a semester early, and that's due to the AP college courses.
And the college course for credit as well.
Correct, right, and that's, so, I mean, I hope parents understand that, and if you're, you know, take advantage of it. It's huge.
And we've increased those from 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we only had the 2 courses, and we're, what do we have, 5, 6 at this point? But we have a 3-year plan that will be offering 23 college credits at the high school.
Which is huge.
That's something to really highlight. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
Next we have EMR recommendation.
Yes, so I am going to invite Amber Axel to come up first and talk a little bit about the EMR program that she has taught for the last 2 summers. It's an extended learning opportunity for our students who come to school voluntarily in the summer to get this certification. So if you'd like to give an overview and then introduce your students.
Sure. I'm Amber Axtell. I'm a local paramedic and instructor. So it's my 2nd year teaching over the summer. There's multiple courses you could take to get emergency services. There's emergency medical responder, which is entry level. You have to be 14 in order to enter this class. There's EMT, which you have to be 16 to enter this class, 18 to practice on your own, and then there's paramedic. So a lot of adults are just getting their EMR. So the fact that these guys sacrifice their summer and they are actually certified and able to help is paramount. It's a huge deal. So these guys endured a 68-hour class over the summer. They committed 2 days a week. and 4-hour classes each day, which was a hard thing to do in the morning. They came very early, a little sleepy, but we got through, and these guys did great. So now, because of this class, we're missing 2 students, but we have 6 from this class who completed it in entirety, passed the state exam, which some adults can't pass. These guys rocked it. So they passed it, and they are, in the eyes of Connecticut, certified emergency medical responders. So what does that mean? That means that if there's an emergency, they know what to do. If somebody goes into cardiac arrest, they can help. If there's an emergency within the school, you have a team right here that's able to initiate first responder response. So that's huge. So to introduce, I've got Alex, Javier, Kayla, and Gio. We're missing Laura and Jacob, who could not be here tonight.
So we have 6 new certified students at the EMR.
Yes.
You know, that is just remarkable, and I thank you also for all the time and effort that you put into working with the students. I don't know if they have anything to say about their.
Well, first, I want to say congratulations. I'm sure it wasn't easy. I don't like blood and stuff like that. It's pretty cool that you were able to do that.
What grades are you all?
We're on the 9th.
9th grade?
Wow.
That's excellent.
And the other 2 are also 9th grade?
No, those are seniors. So, and actually one of them, this class helped steer him towards a career choice. He wasn't really entirely sure, and then after this class, he's actually applied to my workplace to work.
That's awesome. So do you guys get to work on the ambulance now? Do you help out, or do you do anything like that?
I think it'll come down the line. You know, they have a lot of opportunity around them, so it's a matter of now the desire to seek it out. They have a lot of resources, so if they choose to do it, great. If they don't, they have a lifelong skill. So.
Sure. That's wonderful.
Is there anything that we have to do as a board? Because, God forbid, if there's ever an emergency, is there anything that we have to do to cover them as first responders in the school?
They're covered under Good Samaritan, so as long as the school is okay with them responding to an emergency by being certified emergency responders, they have to abide by HIPAA law, and they are protected under Good Samaritan.
I mean, I just want to make sure that they're protected
Yes.
if they were to ever have to be called into duty.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is this the second or third
Yes.
year you've been doing this?
Second year for the school.
So this being the second iteration, we took the time last year to meet with your first set of graduates, which we're super excited to be able to support, many of them drivers, which they were then able to leave their classes and prioritize and respond to scenes that the chief gave them the permission to respond to, one of them being our own boiler room here in the middle school. What a great scene. Our students came out, they ran to their cars, they grabbed their gears, and they were back through the buildings ready to do exactly what these students have been trained to do. So what we do is once they've been recognized and they've gotten their certifications, we meet with them and we incorporate them in our PERT team. But we also meet with our local chiefs and identify, what are the appropriate things that they can then, like you say, respond to and still be covered liable for liability, but also working with our nurse. But we're super excited to have a second set of graduates.
And a quick note as far as the first graduates, 2 of them have started college for emergency services related education thanks to this program. So it is making a difference.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Yeah, you guys don't have to hang around. I know you probably have to go to school in the morning.
But you did get a picture with Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Into the well?
Where do you want it?
I just wanted to.
Did you bring your certificates, your cards?
It's the state of Connecticut, so takes a while.
Perhaps Mr. Pullen and Ms. Correct? Would you like to get
The
it?
witness protection program, I have to move.
I'm good with that.
But this has been your idea. You're
There's no law for
registered.
that.
Thank you. All right, we'll get in there. I'll get
Val,
behind
you
you.
gonna,
Thank you. And
hold on,
thank
Val's
you so
gonna do it.
much.
I'll do it
No,
Sunday.
she's taking
I'll do it
pictures. You don't get to get out of the picture. Sorry.
Yeah, good.
I will come over next to you, so that way we
Okay, on the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. Big smile again, and one more.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, proud of you guys.
They all look older than me, I'm afraid to shake my hand.
Thank you, Amber.
My pleasure.
Bye guys, see you tomorrow.
Okay, moving on, we'll do the superintendent's update. Wow. That was thorough.
All right, so our current enrollment, as of October 1st, and I want to bring mention that after October 1st, 10 more students have enrolled in the district, so we're at the same number from September of 973, but we know that we just recently enrolled 10 additional students, so we are at 983. So this is as of October 1, there were 423 students, one less than September at Mary Fisher. We have 330 students at the middle school, up by 2 as of October 1, and 220 high school students, down 1. However, 7 of those students have already started, and 3 more are starting on, today they started. So 1 is at the high school, 2 are at the middle, and 7 are at the elementary out of that 10. So that'll make a grand number of 983.
Food service update?
So I'm gonna have Bob help me with that because he produced a nice visual. And we, as you remember, last year we voted to provide universal breakfast for all students in Thompson Public Schools. So Bob, you can talk about the comparison you did, and then this year
Sure.
we voted to do the pilot.
Just to give you an idea, last year, from month of August and September, from 2018 to 2019, 2018, there were 2,061 breakfasts sold, and or served. In 2019, there were 7,023, which is an increase of 341% year over year. This 2020, it wasn't as big a trend, but it was 26% over the previous year. There were close to 8,900 breakfasts served. And lunches went up by 3.5% over last year, for a total number of meals served year over year was 12.66%. So if you look at the bar graphs, we've only got 1 month of data for this year so far, but there was just a huge increase last year to from 2018 to 2019. If you look at breakfast for this year, it's in the blue versus the green, so it's still growing. For lunch, it's the gold versus the gray, and then for the total overall meals served for August and September for this year was 19,605. Last year was 17,402, and in 2018 it was 12,256. So it's 12.66% over last year. And that's the first month, and it's with the free lunch experiment in the elementary school at this time. Our free and reduced numbers have gone up 2. It's 50% as a district, which is a couple of points higher than last year at the same time. So there's a lot more meals coming out of there than there have been, which is good because that's the whole point of serving breakfast and lunch, is to serve that population.
And that program is running well into the black now, even with the increase in pilot lunches. So we're going to keep monitoring that, obviously, from month to month. But we got by the first month and we're still in the black, so the program is still making money.
With counting in with July and August, right now our computed operating position for year-to-date with grants received, et cetera, is about $63,000. So the positive account balance life is about $35,000 right now.
For FY '20.
Yeah.
Just curious, am I missing something or is my math wrong? Does that seem like we're serving roughly 50% of the population,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, it's
So
actually.
what's the other 50% doing? I'm just curious.
Well, it's 53% in the elementary school and 48% in the middle school and 45% in the high school is free and reduced.
Well, no, I'm looking at, let's just say roughly 9,000, well, let's go with the lunches. You got roughly 10,000 lunches
Yep.
in a month. Well, if my math is right, we have the opportunity for 20,000 lunches a month. 1,000 kids,
Yep.
times 5 days, times 4 weeks.
Yep.
I mean,
But then
I-
here, the staff pays each month, there's other things.
no, they always have
A
lunch.
lot of kids bring lunch as well.
I'm just saying, that surprises me that many are bringing lunch. I'm just, I don't know.
It usually tapers off after the novelty of the new lunch boxes at the elementary. I know that's what Lisa said.
I mean, I guess I could see high school kids more than middle and elementary. But it just surprises me that it's, basically 50%.
And obviously Cole said in his update that, they're trying to talk about, menu options, so maybe some of the kids aren't attracted to that.
Or they just don't eat, some teenagers.
That's what I
don't eat.
wonder.
Yeah.
You know?
Mornings are tough at that age developmentally, they're not even awake, much less, we had a huge growth in their breakfast last year, but it's difficult for them.
Right, and breakfast is even lower, but the lunch is the 10,000 number, roughly, which is, roughly now. I don't know, it surprised me.
But we did finally hit that solid 50% free and reduced mark.
Yeah.
No, it helps, it helps.
So is
that at a threshold that you get grants or?
So what we're waiting for is the correct certifications. If we hit a certain threshold, a certain number, and we've always been trailing about 2 or 3 students, but if we hit that threshold, then we can offer free lunch for everyone. And honestly, that's what we were hoping, that we don't have to worry about that unpaid lunch debt and any of that, which would be very nice.
But it always offered up opportunities for other things, other kind of
Yes,
aid,
to open up
state aid.
state aid, grants, because you can.
Which to me, that was more important than, it's important to feed them,
So
but we have
we're-
more opportunities for state aid.
So is it a matter of, is some of it a matter of getting people to apply who are really on the border or need it and don't know they need it or don't know that they qualify?
So that was a problem in the past, where we were really chasing people when we had big lunch debt. And we did do that. Several times a year, we outreached. And if a parent actually did have a lunch balance, that was the first thing we asked them to do, was fill out that form to see if they could qualify. And Lisa has done, and Chris Murphy have done an outstanding job there. But this year, in order to get free lunch, remember we were all worried about that, we said they must fill out that application. She has 100% of those applications. So any child in Mary Fisher now can get their free lunch. Now, whether she qualifies for the reimbursement on the federal side for those lunches is another story, but at least we captured everyone for the first time.
Sounds amazing.
So are we 2 or 3 students away from everybody, or where are we at?
Yeah, I don't know, I think after October 1, and they base it on October 1 numbers, I'll have to ask her. She's been just reconciled October 1. I can ask her and see if that's gonna help us. We've been so disappointed, I'll be honest with you, that those direct certs, it's only a couple of kids that we've missed it on. So,
Is there a cutoff or a deadline? Can you resend out the forms to the people that haven't filled
the
it out?
deadline was, they base it on October 1 first.
Any questions, comments to Bob? Thank you, Bob. All right, our leadership presentation, postpone that till next month. High school graduation. We can set a date tonight if we so choose.
We can.
So, you want to talk about it?
Well, the governor signed into Public Act 19-195 into law on July 1st, which allows the Board of Eds, when they set their initial calendar, that you can set your graduation date on your original calendar of 180 days. You know, we go 181 days, but this date here for graduation reflects the 180th day that graduation could be held, which is Wednesday, June 10th. So I'm recommending that we select Wednesday, June 10th as the graduation date, set it now, then I'm able to inform Project Graduation and any other groups that are working around graduation activities. This is the date, and then they can work from there.
All right, so because I'm also on Project Graduation,
Okay.
my question now is, June 10th is tentative. If we have snow days,
No,
No, we set it,
they
we
don't
set it.
count.
okay,
That's it.
all right.
This is,
Because we're gonna start booking the trip, and,
Kathleen?
okay, I was waiting till.
no, go ahead, Kathy.
Well, but remember, this is what concerned us the year before, when we could set it for the 185th day. We were always allowed to use the 185th day, it's just now Governor Lamont has moved the goalpost even further away from us to get, what happens to the rest of the school? They
come to school.
They come to school. So the seniors basically get all the snow days off and don't have to make them up. Correct. Right. Which is okay by me if you don't agree to it, because they've already taken their exams.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask though.
Well, they would have,
That
I'm
could really
assuming high
throw the
schools would have
schedule.
worked to that schedule.
Well, yeah, but what if we got 10 snow days
That's
and
why I'm saying.
hurricane days?
Don't know?
That's
What
true.
does that do to the high school schedule of
That's what they have to figure
exams?
it out, because they're gonna take the
They're
exams
gonna
before
have
they
to-
can graduate, so
Yeah.
they come in on
Could I
Saturday.
influence?
We already run it, I don't, Megan, was your hand up? I don't know if you were,
That's all right, I can.
we already run a separate schedule.
Well, wait a minute. Did you have something? to say?
Well, no, that's great. I wanna, what would you do?
Go ahead.
We already run a separate schedule. We've always had to do a separate schedule, at least for a couple of the days for seniors, because it's always been a little bit different.
So in order to
Sure.
accommodate rehearsals and the graduation night, the way it falls, we've always run the seniors 2 days prior to. But if you're talking 10 days prior to, especially in classes mixed, not just seniors, but underclassmen, it becomes a challenge. It's not insurmountable.
I mean, when's the earliest we've graduated in, let's say, the last 5 years? Because I know there's been years where we're pushing up against July.
It's always been mid to late.
However, in order, I mean, because there are so many pieces at play here, and I know taking into consideration of trying to plan for that project grad on a specific night, but also balancing the amount of instruction that we're able to implement. It just, having the date set really allows so many other things to just fall into place.
I don't disagree with you, Megan, but I've always said that setting the date is a great idea. But this is very quick. I mean, this is very soon, the 180th day. At least the 185th day gave us some wiggle room. And if we do get caught, as the Yankee Farmer's Almanac says, with a very stormy winter this winter, you may be really pushing it to meet that date. Would you want to not move it till maybe the next week to give you a little wiggle room?
So this recommendation is being made strictly on the guidelines of the law that Ms.
Correct.
Smith identified.
So we can't.
Wait, one at a time. Go ahead.
I looked up on Company Bolag and Ellis, and their graduation date is much later. I mean, if this is the law, how did they make the date so much
Well,
later?
their calendar could be later.
Is this the law that allows you to do it, or says you must do it?
Oh, no, allows.
Okay, so it allows you to do it, we don't have to do this.
Can I-
I know, I have no problem in setting, I really think setting the date is great, because it helps you guys out, helps the but we don't run our school for project graduation.
Right.
That is, this is not the purpose of the school.
Is this such a hot button topic that this is one of the first things Lamont does in his administration?
No, I don't know, we're not gonna get into
That's a whole other discussion.
No, I'm being serious, I'm not dissing him, but what is the deal with this?
I think it was because in many other states, including the state I live in, they set the graduation date on the 180th day of school, and those seniors do not have to make up those snow days.
To a point, depends on how many.
And so I think they're just trying to follow suit with other states that already have that requirement.
Which is no problem. But, and I'm not, if you wanna do that, I mean, if you feel that if we really got hammered this winter, and you can adjust your schedule, and I defer to Ian and.
Well, it's our decision.
I'm gonna ask again, and it's only 2 days on the school week, but can we talk about a weekend graduation?
We've talked about it before.
Can't we do a Sunday graduation? Adds 2 more days.
Yeah, I know.
Or Saturday, it adds 2 more days. It's not a Friday night, or that's why I would do Sundays, because Friday, Saturday are gonna be more expensive, usually, for a trip, usually. And again, we don't do it for that, but, and Sunday, family can come in, I mean, I don't know.
I get it,
just-
it's convenient, but it always comes back to, we cannot make the teachers come
That's
in
right.
on a Saturday or Sunday
That's
to do
right.
this. Although a good number of them would, you can't make them do that.
I agree.
And so,
You can't.
They don't.
It's- Are we, and back to,
excuse me. Okay.
Bill, we
No,
don't,
we can't
just
hear.
like we keep saying, we don't run our school for project graduation?
Yeah.
Who do we run it for?
Well, it's
Thank
supposed to
you.
be for the students.
It's for the kids,
It's supposed to.
and their families, and their grandparents, and their, that wanna come in and see
I
that.
kind of agree, I really agree.
We've said
If the
this,
teachers don't wanna come back, that's their loss.
we've said this every year.
I know, we keep trying.
Well, we're not gonna do that this year anyway. We're not gonna be able to solve that right now. So what,
Generally, we set.
When would we?
When would we?
What?
Excuse me. We're discussing when we're gonna set graduation right now. We have to do it. Our budget has been set now. We have to
Well, we
either
don't have to
set
set
it or we
grad-
wait till April.
Oh, we don't have to set graduation now.
we're not setting a Saturday or Sunday tonight, is what I'm saying.
Why not?
Okay, one at a time. Tom has the floor.
Usually whenever we set the high school graduation, we always set the 8th grade moving up. But no, in the past, so I just haven't finished it. Does the 180 also apply to 8th grade, or is it only high school?
Only high school, and our 8th grade students are required to go to school 181 days.
Okay. And if there's snow days, 8th grade has to accommodate?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanna make sure. Second part, when I just said that I'm on project graduation, I just wanna try to avoid all the other years that we've ever had, even when we set a date. So if we're firm and we're etched in stone, that's the date we move forward. I just think it's very odd, because we probably average 5 days a year. Whether it's a hurricane, a tornado, whatever it might be. We live in an area that's pretty remote, and some of those roads get, whatever. I just don't wanna back ourselves into a hole.
So you could wait and follow your regular April time. I just wanted to bring what the new
I just,
public law is that you're talking about.
I'm looking at it the other way, because I just know, I think this is gonna come back to bite us. I'm just saying.
Why?
Then you're gonna have project graduation here,
No, I-
asking for a date.
Right, I put the other hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, everyone wants to try to get the best date, but we could have 12, we could have 15, we may have 0. We don't know. We live in the Northeast.
But apparently, according to government law, it doesn't matter. We can set the date for June 10th and meet the letter of the law.
But it does come back to, you can meet the letter of the law, but you still have to fit in the final
Well,
exams, et
that's
cetera.
why I
So 15,
defer-
yeah,
That's
that
why-
5 days is probably not a problem. 15 days, we wouldn't want that, I want 15 snow days.
Well, no.
But yeah, so that's,
Yeah.
Nobody's happened in the past. A couple of years ago, we had the windstorm, and
Yeah.
we were out of power for a
Exactly.
week, and then we had snowstorm after snowstorm, and,
About 12 days.
yeah.
I mean, personally, if they say they can take care of the exams, then that's on them to take care of it, make sure the kids get their education and get that done. I still just, every year, say the same thing, I think it is I don't know why we can't discuss that a little more seriously.
Yeah, I'm with Sean,
I like that too, I'm with him too. I mean, there's no, we would still comply to the letter of the law by setting it on Sunday or Saturday. So that grandparents who need to travel, they can't come here on a Wednesday night. I mean, grandparents, you know.
I think this has a lot of budget implications also, because you're gonna have custodians here, you're paying them overtime on the weekends, you're gonna.
You're paying them overtime on a week too. What do we do, send them home on Thursday or Friday? They're here tonight for graduation.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think
I don't
that's.
think there's any difference.
Yeah, because it's up for discussion. I get what you're saying over here. Do you have an opinion on this?
Everything has a pro and a con. I mean, you know, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
What's the implication
Small
for
one.
Project Red if we wait until April?
How many families do we have,
We
can
don't-
we poll them to see
We
if
don't
they
have to wait till
apply?
we have to do this.
No, we don't.
So why don't we take a pulse?
That's fine. How are we gonna do that?
I'll send out a.
Well, we're cool though.
Survey monkey, I don't
I'll just send them a written thing, they can send it back and tell us their comments and go.
Because
with it.
usually when we have parents
Does it
here,
work for
they're
you guys?
asking,
I would
I'm
also
asking for
add
weekends.
that, I would also add the
Schedule-wise,
option
we
on
can make
a
it work
weekend
instructionally,
versus
it might be
a day.
different.
Well, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's the whole.
That's just as far as I'm concerned, I don't know.
All right, we'll
To me,
survey
it's either the 10th or the
students and
14th.
families and
No,
get what they got.
All right, well, we can do that.
The public act reads that it provides for at least 180 days of school, and if we did have the snow days, we wouldn't be providing 180 days of school.
Yes, but it's allowing you to set the date on your original calendar of 180
I think it's
days.
giving you the opportunity to do it, and if you
Not
don't
legal.
do it,
No, but I'm just saying, you said it, and then there's still 7 more days of school. The seniors just won't come.
Correct.
Right. They don't need to come, I mean, at that point, it's moot for the seniors, they've been accepted to wherever they're going, college, the army.
they just mailed
Trade
it in that
schools.
last week anyway.
Just as a suggestion, before you do that survey thing, also check to see that we don't have competing school schedule for graduations. You know, you have some families at
Alice is
one
the
school
15th.
and the other. Maybe we should look at all the other schools' dates too, so that we don't conflict, because we had that issue last year.
Last year we had to change ours. Somebody else.
so I'd say we'd be looking at either the 10th or the 14th.
Okay, goodbye.
I just want to clarify one thing, that the law used to say that you had to wait till April. That's why we keep talking about setting it now or setting in April. At this point, you don't have to wait till April. You could wait until February or March. At any point, you can set your graduation date as long as it's at the 108th day. So you don't, if you don't want to make a decision now, you don't have to, but you also do not have to wait until April. You could do that at your March meeting or February meeting or January meeting. I just wanted to clarify. April is
That's
no
what we
law.
were talking about, we're gonna get a consensus, what people think, you know, do they want it on a weekday, do they want it on a weekend, that kind of thing, and then we'll make a decision after that.
That's the way you're doing it. Probably had to set it once the original one was set. That's fine. And we just want to make, you know, we do want to make allowances for project graduation, but, and the earlier we can set the date, the more convenient it is for them. I mean, this is the last hurrah for a lot of these kids, and I do appreciate that.
I know, I just can't believe the governor's giving them a pass. You
Well,
know,
Tom, it is a
Yeah.
moot point. They've done everything, they've taken their exams. Why would they come back to school for 5 days when they've already been accepted to the college, or they've already joined the military?
well, yeah, I mean, you raised a good
All right,
point
well,
about the
we've-
military.
We could beat this to death.
Yep.
We're gonna get okay. All right. Administrative reports. Rob, do you want to start us off?
Sure. As you can see, there are the events that have happened over the past month, and we have some exciting things coming up with our Mr. Graham grant. So the 4th graders will be going out to Bluff Point State Park this week, and to the aquarium. And so a lot of science-based field trips coming up for both fourth grade, third grade, first grade. And PTO had a very successful fundraiser with us, and it was so much fun for the kids. So the booster-thon was a tremendous success and raised over $13,000. So that's going to, we're going to sit down with Superintendent Smith and I think Mr. Birch and discuss a few options, whether it's some playground or it might be technology. So we're going to look at what the options are, and maybe also supporting the reading garden that we have talked about for a few years, to start with Montgomery funds. So we've got some ideas and how to best spend it for all the kids to benefit from it. So, good things.
Thank you. Steve?
At the middle school, our academic support program that we implemented last January started last week. We've run it, we're running every Tuesday and Thursday as we had last year. So far through the first 3 days, we've averaged 8 to 12 kids that have academic challenges, so they have the opportunity to be after school until 4 o'clock on those days, either getting extra help or one-on-one tutoring, making up tests or work that they can retake or make up. It's currently staffed by one ELA teacher, a special ed teacher, a math teacher, and our library media specialist. So we have nice manageable numbers right now. We're capping it at 20 so that each teacher would end up with maybe a manageable group of about 5 at max capacity. So as of right now, that's running pretty smoothly. Our NEWA testing took place from September 16th to October 4th when we finished makeups. We had a few kinks in the process initially with some Tyler problems and a few new staff members, but we got those ironed out after a couple of days. And with guidance and our library media specialist and administrators, we've got a little, we're putting a newer plan in place. We're going to update things. We're hoping that in the future things are going to be run a little more effectively and efficiently with any of our standardized testing. PTO is running their first kids' night out this Friday night, the 18th. It's a spooky Halloween theme with a haunted hallway, and all middle school students are invited to come, grades 5 through 8. Our first Fabulous Friday was run on September 27th. This happens once a month as part of our PBIS plan. Activities available to students included yoga, flag football, painting, a technology gaming activity, and a Spider-Man movie. Those students that did not earn enough tickets to attend an activity or chose not to were in teacher supervised study and tutorial and makeup sessions. And the Fabulous Fridays are not always the same. They're structured the same, but there's a different, sometimes we have guest speakers, it's a different movie or different activity. So every month is a little different spin on it to try to keep the kids interested and excited about what's going on and keep them behaving and earning those behavior bucks.
What's the percentage of kids that are able to take advantage of that?
I'm sorry?
What's the percentage of students that are able to take advantage?
I'd say probably 75% of the kids.
Okay.
It seems like the younger kids, the younger grades are more excited about earning the behavior bucks and attending than the 8th grade. The interest kind of wanes a little bit as they get older. It's just like twice a month we open the student store where they can go in and buy stuff to PTO. And Mary Thompson, our PBIS coordinator, they open it twice a month. And I mean, it's like when we say to the 5th graders, okay, it's time to go to the store, it's like you got to get out of the way. They're just like stampeding out of the cafeteria to hit the store. But 8th grade, there might be just a trickle of kids that go out. So it just, it's kind of, young kids get all excited.
You don't tell them what the movie is in advance.
Oh, no, they know. They know what the movie is.
Maybe you don't tell them what the movie is and let it be a surprise, and maybe everybody gets more. I don't know, just maybe they don't like the movie, so they're not gonna get the.
Except if they get in there and they don't like it and they say, I'm leaving.
Yeah. That's true, there's always a pros and cons.
Yeah, both sides of it, I guess. But it's run pretty good.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mary's doing a great job coordinating it. She has a committee that's helping her out a lot, so we're moving very along.
Thank you. Megan?
We're really excited about the attendance that we had tonight at our school governance council. So we were mandated by the state of Connecticut to continue this council. We inherited it in 2009. And we had 11 parents show up today, very excited, all really prioritizing wanting to get the good word out on what's going on in Turtle-Lot and to become part of the fabric, looking at our goals with us and helping us set our school improvement plan as it's aligned with the Portrait of a Graduate as those results come out. So it's the most exciting school governance council meeting that I've attended in the last 4 years. So we're really excited about that. And I'll stop there because my liaisons really talked about all the other wonderful things that are going on.
Diane, you want to add anything?
Just that the PSAT for grade 8 will be on Thursday. We do that every year for grade 8 students as a way to kind of set the stage for where they are and what they'll need to do to improve their score to really create that interest and confidence in attending college as after high school. So 8th grade students take that they take it on Thursday the 17th.
And it's another data point for our grade 8 teachers to look at, and it connects right to Khan Academy as far as areas that students need to work on. So it's another option for teachers to use for supporting students. So I'm glad that a couple of years ago you took that on and ran with it, Mr. Coonan. Thank you.
Chris?
Can I ask one question before I report out? Did you want me to put the numbers back in, so if the partnership was not here, what that would look like?
I think we don't need to show that yet. I think maybe at the end of the year would
Okay.
be a good, or maybe sometime during budget season.
Mid-year might be good. Or when we're developing the budget, this is what it would look like, either way. But I'm sure you're busy enough, you don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, it would take some time to do that, to give a accurate number.
Yeah, not right now.
To talk about the bike gang a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. So, well, we all know Mr. Joyce and his high level of involvement with our community. Several years ago, he started accepting broken down bikes that could be donated to the to T, so for the homeless to be able to use for their transportation. And he turned it into a much more of a class project, wherein he had, as you see the picture of, I think there were 7 students, truly just so engaged in restoring their bike and personalizing their bikes before they were able to donate them. It was definitely a great way for them to give back. And I don't know how many of you drove by the community property where the garden is going up, but his students were out there today putting in the outdoor garden. Phenomenal. The pictures he was showing me this afternoon of the work that they did, just truly giving back to the community. I applaud Mr. Joyce and his never-ending energy.
This is yet another example of good things schools do. Innovation.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out, Jody.
Now you're up.
Sorry.
That's okay. So just in looking at the numbers, I did provide just an uptick, kind of like a history dating back to 2013 to current. So it kind of gives you the uptick as you look at the numbers of students with IEPs, 504s, and students that are placed out of district. So you can see how it's steadily inclined over the years, just so you have an idea of what that looks like. So currently, again, out of 972 students, 203 qualify for special education service. That puts us at about roughly 21%. 83 504s. Bradley School, Windham County, we have 25 students in here on site. 25 out of district total, rather, 12 of which are in the partnership, 8 are Thompson students. The neighboring districts are Putnam, Woodstock, Killingly, and now Sterling. And we also have a potential student from Brooklyn that would be coming in. Almost all of the students are having access to the unified arts classes and the general ed curriculum with Bradley support. And I believe Megan correct me if I'm wrong, at the high school, they've earned the bronze level, so they're starting to go out for some core academics as well. So again, as they're getting out and the data is consistent, they start to fade back, they have more access, and then eventually the goal is that they're out of that program altogether. So just letting you know that it's going very, very well at this point in time. CompuClaim billing, everybody is billing accordingly. We've run a new list of students that are Medicaid eligible. I'm hoping that for the next board report, I'd be able to give you an idea of where we were last year with the old system and where we are now with the new system, so you can kind of see the difference of what you're looking at in reimbursement. So that's my goal for the next board report. And then lastly, as far as Unified Sports goes, we had a sign up last Thursday, October 3rd for middle school, and Friday, October 4th for the high school, and then a mandatory parent-player meeting on October 8th. And I'd like to turn to Deb Spinelli for really helping spearhead the Unified Sports. She's been wonderful with that, so we're really excited for the opportunity to have Unified Sports here in Thompson.
So we had about 31 kids initially sign up. I think a few of them that signed up were a little confused as to what the program is. So there's a few that are not probably going to play. But good to go right now with physicals, all the paperwork in. We have 8 students, 1 high school kid as a peer, and then we have another 12 lined up. All they need to have is their physicals now, and they'll have another 3 peers to help out from the regular ed. So that's about 22 kids altogether. So there's some kids that are nebulous. I'm not sure. I think they just signed up and didn't know what they were getting into, so I'm not really counting them. So it's about 22 kids. And I've also been in contact with Eureka from Woodstock Academy, who has like a mini league going with Putnam, Woodstock, and Killingly. See if we can jump in and match and make a schedule up. So we're there. They're going to be, Megan is going to be the coach, and they're going to meet on Wednesdays when we have the late bus. They'll have practice down in the elementary gym from 3 to 4 when the bus is, and then they'll jump on the bus and go home. And then if we have games, well, we'll work that out when we get that far.
Could you please clarify which Megan?
Megan Kaczynski.
Megan Kaczynski, not that one. She is definitely not a coach.
I great.
Heels are not allowed on the gym floor, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
What sports are you?
They're doing basketball this winter and hopefully volleyball in the spring. Problem with volleyball around here, there are not many schools. You may have to dip back into Rhode Island and pick up some schools that have volleyball because they don't really offer that. Right now in this area in Connecticut, they do soccer. Some schools do soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, and in the spring they've been doing track.
So, with the Bradley School,
Yes.
if we go back to the enrollment,
Yep.
so there's 10 students, 7, it says here for October, 7 Thompson, 3 other districts, which is 10. Does that 10 get added in to our numbers plus the 10 new students? No, okay.
No, those are considered not a district placement, so they're not included in our enrollment numbers.
Should they?
No, because it's still considered not a district placement. We're still paying tuition for those students.
Even though they're here?
Correct.
Okay.
We pay
All right.
Bradley.
Okay.
We do get state aid for our 7 kids,
Yep.
but the other districts get their own state aid because they're tuition them here.
Okay. All right.
Chris,
Turn on the
curious
Yeah.
with the
Yes.
Bradley
Yes.
number here.
Yes.
8 from Thompson, 1 from Putnam, Woodstock, Killingly, and Sterling. That seems odd. How come we have 8 kids that are qualifying for that program? Is it that they're choosing to only send one of their kids that qualify, or do they only have one that qualifies?
No, they have a lot more that qualify. They want to see it
Test the water.
sustained, and,
Okay.
you know, what this looks like, because it's a newer model here.
Fair
Right.
enough. That's kind of what I was expecting to hear, but
Yeah, because realistically, that floodgate could open, and then you have a
That's-
whole host of students coming in.
which is what we hope for.
Yeah, I would rather it be our students, with all due
Sure.
respect, trying to get them in, but, you know, I think when you tell a parent that, you know, we can't service your student here, we have to look for another placement, and now, on the flip side, we're trying to get them back, not the easiest conversation to have. And you have this brand-new program in its infancy stages, and you want to be able to say, hey, we have this program, here it is with Fidelity, look at the results of it, you know, and over time, you will see that number, the number has to go up before it's going to come down. It's just what has to happen, and it will come down. Because ultimately, the students are going to exit altogether, but to get them out, in the context of the environment, here in the public school, having access and fade it out versus you do well over at Site A with this type of support, and now you come back here and the supports are different, it doesn't work, you know? So this is the right way to do that, yes.
I think I asked the question last month, what is the capacity for the program here in Thompson?
40 students. Right.
My other question is, we have 20.8% for special education. What is an average for our district size? Do you know? Do you have an idea?
I'm gonna say around 13%.
Okay.
Around 13%.
Thank you.
There's a few variables, right? We talked about, you know, maybe over-identification, not using the response to intervention process with Fidelity. So those are things that we have to work on in district, because we right along the way have over-identified students, but I will tell you that the ones that have moved in over the summer very often already come with an ed plan, and they're pretty complicated.
Yep.
And so, you know, Chris put together this chart, but I remember when I was first hired, we were a little bit in the high 150s, and now we're at 203, and probably at the end of this week, 204 students.
Just the 3 students that moved into district that require one-to-one support, that was unaccounted for, if that's what a student needs, so that's what they have to have. So, again, unbudgeted, it's unfortunate, but. Yeah.
And we did see a blossom of students that we had to service down in St. Joe's as well.
Correct.
Some of those students came actually into the district.
So, 2 things. I know we said the capacity is 40. The number that we said were gonna be guaranteed spots to our town or our students was 18, is that right?
At least 18.
I know we had originally said something, I don't remember.
You know, when push comes to shove, our students take precedence in the program.
Okay.
It's never gonna get to the point where you're at capacity and then we can't have one of our students go into the program because it's at capacity. That will not happen.
Okay. And then the other thing is the increase, has that number increased based on any of the parameter or guidelines changing versus us having more students that have, you know, whether it's IEP, I mean, have the state guidelines changed, which has helped?
That's
or
not affecting it. It's just
No?
you people want to come to Thompson, and the number's going up.
Okay. All right.
And I do think a big part of it is RTI,
Yeah.
the response to intervention piece. Looking at that, you know, students can qualify for special education right through RTI. So we're gonna take a good look at that and how that's being done with Fidelity. Tier 1, looking at it, you know, you're running your gamut of the weeks of data on this intervention. Did it work? Do you need to go to the next tier? And then that's trialed over a period of time, not just, we tried RTI, special ed referral.
But
It has
the
to be
state
done.
hasn't lowered standards,
To qualify?
which has qualified more students? No. Okay. All right.
Bill?
I got word today that our new oil tank is finished, and it is due to be on site Monday. There's still a lot of work to be done after that, but there were concerns that it wasn't going to be done for several more weeks. I was told this afternoon it's finished, and they are sandblasting and putting final coats on it, and the crane is scheduled for Monday to set it in place. In the meanwhile, we've put small temporary tanks in place at the high school and the admin building. As of this afternoon, only the admin building still didn't have the heat on. The heat's on everywhere else. So everybody should be comfortable.
Melinda says she doesn't
Melinda,
need heat. She's
everybody
good.
should be comfortable.
Get used to a sweater.
I did tell them last week to bring a sweater.
Bring your Afghan.
But the weather's cooperated pretty good with it on that. The 2017 security grant is finished up. The ball is with the last part of that. We've submitted for reimbursement, and we expect that money, the last $7,000-8,000 in pretty soon. The ballistic window film, the film has mostly been installed. They still have to come back and do the caulking to finish up that piece of the project. We have ordered the equipment. It's on site for the badge printers that are gonna go into all of the offices that will do a minimal background check and print a badge for any visitors that come in. There's a training piece that's involved for that for the secretaries, so we're expecting to roll that out around the Christmas vacation time. We'll submit for that piece of reimbursement for the town to get their money back on that, and that gives us all winter to work on the final piece, which is the gates. And just to clarify it before it comes up, that new fence that's out there has nothing to do with the security project. That is strictly to replace the old snow fence that we've had up there for several years to keep kids from going down the hill. We had a broken leg out there a few years ago. So we are trying to eliminate that. And I think that's it. The building committee is still working on the roofing project, which we hope is going to sail next summer. We got the first round of cost estimates and plans last week. They need to have some work done to them. And the key to that is the schedule to get it all moving, because it's got to get out to referendum and we have to approve the funds before we can move forward with the state.
Do you have any questions for any of our administrators? Did you have any? Deb, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Football team's coming off its bye week. They're right now 3-1. Boys soccer's struggling. They have a tie. Girls soccer has qualified for states. And cross country team runs in the ECCs tomorrow. And kids qualify with their time. They'll be participating in the state class meet next weekend. And middle school is doing all right. Boys soccer is got a couple of wins. Girls are struggling, but they're getting better. They're actually making some goals now. So, and cross country, middle school cross country meet. The championship meets next Wednesday. We had to move it from Woodstock Fairgrounds to Owen Bell Park because Paul Miller decided to plant corn where our course was and where we park people. So we had to find a new site.
When does our gymnast start her gymnastics competitions?
Right now she's on a medical leave. We're waiting to see if she gets clearance to actually do it. But she starts with the winter season, which is around December 2nd.
Okay.
So it's not for a while yet.
All right.
The parent-player meetings will be coming up at the end of November. The calendar runs late this year, just the way the whole thing ran. So our parent-player meetings are later than normal, just before Thanksgiving, and we don't start basketball till girls' high school the 2nd of December, boys the 5th, and middle school start the 25th, the 21st of November after they have their physicals.
All right, thank you all. Let's move on to our action items. First, the minutes of the meeting of September 8th. Thank you. Discussion. Any corrections, omissions, deletions? All those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anybody want to abstain? We have Board of Ed meeting dates for next year.
To accept as presented.
Motion to accept them, do we have a second? Any discussion? We went through this in the calendar and everything matches up? Okay, all those in favor of accepting these for next year, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, Eastern Board of Directors, appointment. We could actually have one person on the Board of Directors, so, I don't know if anybody's interested in doing it.
I'd like to make a motion that this becomes either a chairman or a vice chairman, as they are the executives of the board.
That sounds great, but.
With
Next-
your
next-
acceptance.
No, well, next month things might change, so why don't we just table this until after the election, and then you're gonna probably, you may have a new chair, a new vice chair, and I think that's a great idea, but let's see what the election brings.
Melinda reminded me, I did this last year, went to one of the meetings. I mean, I would be happy to do it, let me do a little research, we'll table it.
High school graduation day, we're gonna table that for right now, and.
Can I make a comment on that?
Of course.
Because I am obviously with the, what do you call it, project graduation, I just asked for just some quick feedback, and I guess there has been some favorable responses regarding weekend graduations. So I think we may be shocked when we do a survey. Okay, I'll just let you know.
All right, so E is to reconcile the budget. Could I have a motion to approve the cuts suggested by the superintendent?
I make a motion to accept the 2020 revised budget as presented by the superintendent with the cuts. With the cuts recommended by the
You can add those in.
garbled as that may be.
I got you, but do you have a second to that?
Second.
On discussion. So this is cutting supplies, cutting spring sports at the middle school, and
Field trips at the middle and elementary, 3,000 that we really got a budget.
and that was a total of $50,000. That was our last cut by the Board of Fund.
Correct, Bob?
Refresh my memory, what's the actual dollar amount we're saving by cutting spring sports in middle school?
So if it's 23,000, and tonight Bob told us there was $24,000 not on this bottom line, wouldn't that, now, it gives you absolutely no buffer, doesn't that take care of spring sports?
We also have a $35,000 surplus in cafeteria, so that's
We can't use that.
That's something,
all right.
Can't use that, that's theirs, that's.
I'm just gonna caution you all that we got down to the FY19 budget, $2,600. That's how close to zero we were. That's really too close to bone and too close for comfort. As much as I don't want to see spring sports be eliminated, that $24,000 is really not much of a cushion in a budget like this, and there's nowhere else to go.
$23,805 out of an $18.5 million budget. We're gonna tell the kids they can't play. I just hope everybody in town understands. $23,000 in an $18.5 million budget, and we're telling kids they can't play sports.
And there's always an opportunity, we have until when in December?
Deb, when's the deadline for us to make a decision around spring sports at the middle school?
It's gonna be well, we're gonna have to enter our spring sports schedule probably by 15th of January, I'm guessing, because the state's doing it a different way now, so I'm guessing that's gonna be the timeline, so around January 15th, I have to know, because I have to, actually by January 1st, because I gotta put us into the schedule. Right now, we're in the schedule, but I'm gonna have to go back and tell people that we're not gonna be in the schedule. And so the spots will remain open as a buy in the schedule, so that if we decide to go back, to reinstitute us into those spots in the calendar.
Yeah, of all the years that a different sport has been cut, has any of them ever come back?
Well, we haven't had any JV programs back since you guys cut them, at least 12 or 15 years ago.
Point being, when we make this vote, let's not kid ourselves. They never come back.
The thing that people have to remember is that the last referendum, when that went through, people think that, in people's minds, they think that that means sports is back. They don't realize that that cut was already made before, and that next vote was just to go from that point forward. So when you build the budget back for next year, you gotta put that 23,000 back in, if that's what you're gonna bring back in, before you even start the budget. It's gotta go back in.
I just can't fathom how many line items are in our budget. You know what I mean? My point is, it's
430.
430 line items.
Are there any rules against a fundraiser? If I was to run a fundraiser.
Except right now, we have a budget that the town, that we voted on. We have to reconcile to that number.
I understand that.
So you can have all the fundraisers in the world.
No, is
but-
there any rules against a Board of Ed member running a fundraiser with his band to generate money and donate it to the school? Are there any violations if I was to do that?
I looked that up.
They can't do revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you can make a donation
We
to the
talked about
school.
this,
Yeah, you can make a donation to the school, but I don't know if you can give money to the school. I think you can give, well, I can give money, that's different.
Can
I don't know if
somebody
you can
You're
give
more-
money.
Can somebody look into that for me, please?
Go ahead. You have
We got donations last year for the music department where somebody donated $500 and that can go, you can earmark it, and basically I deposit it and use it
Okay.
towards the music department, for example.
Right.
We had $20,000
No, I
donated
know.
by Towie O'Brien.
No, right, but I'm saying as a Board of Ed member, am I allowed with my band to do a fundraiser? Right, is there any conflict of interest? I just want to.
You're a private citizen,
You're a
you can
private
do whatever you
citizen.
want.
Okay, all right.
And then the next part of this discussion.
I just wanna be a devil's advocate. However, once you do that, there's always gonna be some, they're gonna be able to bail you out there. I'm a firm believer, if you are gonna offer programming, that you offer the whole 9 yards, and it be funded by the town.
I totally agree. I mean, we just blew away $30,000 in 5 referendums, which would have covered.
Correct.
So again, it's educating what the vote means. And, you know, I mean, I'm just looking at ways that we can offset some.
Well, that might be able to save something for this year, but going forward, it can't be your responsibility year after year to raise funds. It has to go back in the budget. It has to, we need to have a serious discussion around security and who's gonna be responsible and whose budget should be in, amongst a bunch of other things in this upcoming budget
Well,
talk.
that's another question in this discussion, because unless I completely misunderstood him on the radio this morning, somebody who's running for first selectman made it sound like they're paying for security at this school. And unless I missed something, we're paying for security at this school.
They're paying for the evening security right now.
Okay.
The full-time security coordinator is in our budget.
Right, but he did not
Yeah,
specify that. I listened.
Yeah.
Correct. There was
Yeah.
there's a mistake.
Yeah,
he
he's
did
taking
mess up.
credit for the town.
Somebody should have called in and straightened that
It
out.
wasn't,
were
it
not
wasn't a
allowed
call
to
in,
call
it was a
There
debate.
no call.
Yeah, they don't let you call in on a debate.
It was a
It's not-
debate.
It's not an open forum, they just, the two of them go back.
But
We can make a
coordinator
comment
is not on the
page.
town's dime right now.
And he claimed credit for paying.
Although, since he claimed credit, maybe it should be on their dime.
But we've already explored that, and the selectmen said no.
So the selectmen said no to fund, they flat out said no to funding the security coordinator.
Yes.
Yeah,
Huh.
take the credit.
That's not at all what was mentioned on
I
meeting
was
this morning.
just gonna say, because I heard
Call
this.
on it.
In any case, we're not gonna decide that tonight, we have to
No.
reconcile this budget.
Okay.
Okay, so, unless, I mean, we have the superintendent's recommendations.
Mhm.
I'm totally against cutting sports. I would look otherwhere, but we don't have any other choices. I honestly don't see where we have any other choices. I'm as passionate about the sports as I am the security, and I can't put one above the other. And I'm hoping this is only temporary and we can get something back in excess costs or something to cover this, or go to the Board of Finance, and I am going to the Board of Finance on Thursday, and I'm gonna ask them for money.
That's different.
Yeah. But if that goes back to special ed, perhaps we can find money elsewhere. We can move things around. We're not bound by.
So Bob gives an update each month as to where we're at and whatever cushion is available. It's kind of a funny word because it's not going to be a cushion, but I think if we monitor that closely and then give you a report every month prior to January 1st, you might be able to make another decision around that. And if we come up with $23,000, obviously that's where that would go.
Or even a chunk of it, because frankly, we have $24,000, and if we run out of money, we run out of money. But we have that unspecified. What?
I remember, adult ed, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, so EastCon runs our adult ed program for us. We get a grant from the state, and we also pay out, another, $48,000.
Yes, we
Yeah.
pay 51, 52, and the state pays 48.
Yeah.
Maybe the population in that?
I don't know how many Thompson residents participate, but we're mandated to have that program. So it makes it a whole lot easier for EastCon to comply with all the rules and regulations around adult ed. We thought about it at one point, but I just don't think we have the capacity to do that.
Do we spend all of that $48,000?
Yeah, they take both sides, the grant side and then the monies that we pay in.
Well, a real naive question, we have somebody in it, right? Like, there are some
I'm
people
sure
that are in
so.
it.
I'm sure we can get a number.
Well, that's my point. If
yeah,
there's
VOAG,
zero.
Like VOAG, can we get something?
Sure. Don't get me wrong, if we have to do it, we have to do it, but if we have to do it and zero people are in it,
We still have to do it, believe it or not.
according to what?
We still have to maintain a program in case.
Let me guess, state law?
Well, in that case, I wouldn't pay it and let them come
Yeah.
and demand it from us.
In that case, we may want to think about hiring people.
Well, right,
An
that,
adult
if we have
teacher.
zero, then,
Well, there's a lot of rules and
Oh,
regulations
okay.
around adult ed, it might be tricky to pull that off. We've talked about it, because none of us like giving that amount of money away. But they have a comprehensive program. I started to go to the board meetings last year, if you recall, in my updates. I will continue to go to those board meetings just to keep my hand on the programs that are being offered. But as far as the number of Thompson residents right now in the program, I can get that number for us.
Val, you have something?
Yeah, where do we stand on that contract with Sequoia Valley?
So we are in one more year of that contract. Next year, we will be telling them that we are no longer, we have one more year to finish, and we won't be offering transportation to QMC. People can choose to go there too, because that's a magnet school. However, we're not part of that partnership after that window of time that we gave them to be out. But we are gonna stop transportation at the end of next year.
Is
So
anybody
2020
going there?
August, 2021.
So this is the
People
first
going there,
year.
they're eligible to graduate from that, right?
Correct. So we have to finish off who's ever there. But if a student chooses to go there, like a VOAG, we do have to put that tuition.
it'll, may keep some of the students here at school rather than leave them. I think that was more of the thought. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion on this?
Is this a roll call vote?
If you'd like it.
Well, I don't know, I mean, is that, how does this go?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you want a roll call vote, call for a roll call vote. Otherwise, I'm just gonna say, all in favor of accepting the recommendation of the superintendent, say aye. That's what I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying now? All right.
Unless you want a roll call vote. I don't care. Okay, so we're not gonna do a roll call vote. All those in favor of accepting the budget reductions as presented by the superintendent, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
I'm abstaining.
All right, so let's do it again, a roll call vote. Tom, how do you vote?
No.
Jody saying yes. Ella saying no.
Yes.
Yes. Matt?
Yes.
Val?
I'm abstaining.
Sean?
No.
Yes.
I don't have to vote. I only have to vote to break a tie, so there is no tie, so I'm abstaining. So the motion passes. So we'll make the cuts as proposed. Correspondence, I don't have any. Old business, I have none.
We talked about, one of these agendas and implemented to possible school restructuring. We're gonna get on that discussion.
I did send out information to my professional organization today to go look at the high school schedule and see if there's some efficiencies with bringing on a new schedule. Could there be some staff reductions? Can I get another tech educator at TMHS if I move positions around? So that's a conversation to have before we get into the restructuring, but that certainly will be on the table, I think, during the budget process.
Interestingly, I have two different parents that I don't even know if they know each other that approach me just randomly. Hey, what do you think about doing this? They've been talking about it, hold some meetings. So, that was interesting.